I had password problems. It
Oh
wasn't working.
no. Well, you
Yeah, so
made it.
I had to reapply my password. I had to get a code sent to my phone.
Well, so they were talking a little bit longer anyway, so
Yeah, so
it all
you
worked
had a
out
good time in here.
today.
So
So so welcome, welcome, Revelation.
yeah, how's it going?
So do you wanna
Oh, we're ready?
yeah, we're ready.
Oh, hey, everyone, what's happening? How are you? What's going on? It's River Wayne Stills, and today we're reading The Impersonal Life with Lynn and myself. We're reading The Impersonal Life, channeled by Joseph Benner. It's a pretty good book. I mean, bottom line, one of the things that I go over my head a lot is we can talk about the metaphysics of it, but the thing that it really hits on very, very powerfully is that God's guiding us, that God is there with us in any and all of our problems and any and all of our issues, anything, whether it be negative or positive, and from our perspective, doesn't really matter because from God's perspective, there's no negativity at all. It's just moving straight through the plan as planned. I guess is what I'm looking at. And the power that's expressed through this book that there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to fear as long as you access this part of yourself, the God part of yourself, the part of yourself that has massive amounts of authority. You'll be fine. The certainty will just be overwhelming. That's what I'm getting out of it. And I don't think we have to even go to music. I had some music planned, but we might as well just start right away. I think it'd be better off. So, what do you say, Lynn? You ready?
That is fine by me. So
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and
Anything else you want to say
take over
about
the
this?
screen. It's all fine and good. Because this is a really exciting and interesting reading that we're doing here.
Yeah.
So we're going to probably start up here at the start where it says, any idea, because he's been talking about everything that's happening here is an expression of God, and that all ideas, all thoughts, everything that's happening is God in action.
Yeah.
So, and that makes so much more sense to me. And ever since I've been reading this with you, it's like it has put things into perspective in a way that, um, as much as I tried with the Course of Miracles, it couldn't come all the way.
Right.
Couldn't come all the way because I'd be saying, well, still in all, how come God let this happen? Still
Right.
in all, how is God not, God is aware of everything that's happening. God is not aware of there being anything good or bad about it.
Right.
It's
Right.
just it is what it is.
It is
And
what it is. It is
yeah,
what it is. It's almost like the best way I heard about it was the idea that God is daydreaming, and we're his daydream. So
yeah,
every single part of the daydream is it's a dream, but a daydream, which is very tentative and it can end at any moment. So we're totally dependent upon that particular dream and continuing. I don't think God is. It's almost as if what he's doing is he's starting after the separation. He starts that he's speaking to each one of us impersonally, but he's speaking to us individually. Does that make sense?
right. Yes, yes.
It's,
And
it's really it's really individualized. This.
it's really individualized because we are individual, we are each an individual uh reflection of God's love.
Yeah,
Like,
I was comparing it to the Borg. I didn't remember the Borg, but yeah, it's almost the Queen had all access to everybody's
yes,
viewpoint, but
yes,
but the drones had access to their own viewpoint. That was it.
right, right.
So
But
we have, but their viewpoint was infinite and connected to everyone's thoughts and everything. But there was she had access to everyone at the same time.
yes, yes,
It was almost as if everyone had access. I don't know. I feel like everyone has an individual infinity, and everyone has a collective infinity.
yes. And so she was experiencing through everyone.
Exactly.
But everyone wasn't experiencing through her.
Her, exactly.
And that's
And
kind of how it is.
I don't know if that's true. That's how they would say it. That's not right, but that's how I was sort of looking at it.
Yeah, because if they
Yeah.
were all equal, it would be a different thing. And I think that's the difference between the Borg uh and the what I would see as being the unified mind of God, because in the unified mind of God, everyone is equal, and there is no place where God is not whole and complete. So,
Right.
the only thing that makes it seem that way is our own,
We value
what
this and
what
over
does he
that.
say to us? You wonder why you can't see anything, but you're holding your hands over your eyes,
Exactly. Yeah.
basically,
Well, what we're seeing, funny thing is we see, we hold our hands over our eyes, and eventually we start seeing what's not there.
Yeah,
We start making stuff up in our minds because we want the mind starts to. So I guess you can't stare at blackness and nothingness the whole time. You have to just start staring at something. So the mind just painting pictures. That's what dreams of the night are. They, when you close your eyes to this world, another world pops up.
right. Well, because the ego tells you there's either something or nothing.
Right, and nothing
And
is
that's not
scary.
the truth. In God's eyes, God sees everything,
Yep.
and it's all bright and beautiful.
And then,
So
and if there is nothing, this is nothing. So
yeah,
we call nothing is something, and we call something is nothing.
exactly.
We have it
And
all backwards.
yeah, we have it all backwards, is exactly it. We have it all backwards. And
All
that's
right.
what Course of Miracles is here to turn us around. And I
That,
think this book is too. So do you want to read starting with
sure,
any idea?
sure. Any idea once born within the realm of the mind has been shown immediately becomes a reality. For in the eternity of my being, time is not. So it happens immediately. From his perspective, it happens immediately. With you, however, an idea first creates desire to express that idea. Then desire compels thinking. Thinking causes action, and action produces results. The idea is the actual outer manifestation. This all happens to him immediately. The part of us that happens outside of time, you know.
Right.
So,
And
so,
for
so
us,
come,
it's like steps.
yeah, but the steps, it means that it's already happened.
Right.
If all this happens immediately, we can see it as though it's already happened.
Right. We're just seeing it in slow motion.
We're seeing slow motion, so to speak. And the Einstein said that this is a universe of being, not becoming.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, he said the universe is already happening. Everything's happening at the same time, simultaneously. And that's the way. That's why I like to look at it that way. Like, I'm being born right now, and I'm dying right now,
Yes.
and everything in between is happening at the same time. It's more like a giant picture, a giant painting. And yeah, if you can pan out and see what the painting is, you're making a good idea what your life, what the theme of your life is.
Yes.
You know, you can see yourself as a painting, as some sort of portrait. In reality, is that where I am?
Let's
Yes.
see.
In
In
reality,
reality,
yeah.
yes.
In reality, I have no desire, for I am all things, and all things are of me. I know. So when I say I, that's me and you. That's talking. It's healthy to remember that the I that's speaking here is me and you. Correct? You still saying?
Yes.
The reality, I have no desire, for I am all things. The I, and the higher part of you, the I, my higher self, and your higher self, I have all things, and all things are of me. I need only to think and speak the word to produce results. If that desire you feel in you is from me, because it is born of my idea, which I implanted in your mind, only that it might come forth into expression through you. Indeed, whatever your desire is, I, knocking at the door of your mind, announcing my purpose and manifesting myself in you or through you in that particular form, indicated that desire. So everything is him doing everything, period. Everything. Everything is happening because he wants it to happen. If we lay back and lean into him, lean into that part of ourselves that is controlling absolutely
Yeah.
everything.
Which kind of seems like the opposite of what A Course in Miracles says, but really it's not. But
Oh,
people misunderstand the course a lot.
I think I find it very much. I see the course at least. I focus on my primary. If you see one of my back set drops from Rivers Everywhere, I need to do nothing. That's the premise of where I start. And best off doing nothing. Let the spirit take over. Let your spirit carry you.
Right.
I think that's very much the course.
Exactly. Because it's already
Lends
done.
itself to that. Exactly. Everything's already done.
Yeah.
We've had let go on the script, be there. If you want to know what the script is that you have, take a look at what just happened. That's your script. What just happened a minute ago in your life? And take a look at it, and that's part of the script. And it's so
Right.
close to what you're about to do, you have a pretty good idea of the theme of your script. It's sort of the thing you want to take a look at your life providentially. Nobody really do that. Is what just happened a second ago was a part of your script. So you start doing that on a regular basis. You start seeing your life from a second, you start looking at your life a second in advance, so to speak. You know what I mean? So if I'm walking down the street and something happens to me, then they go, why did that happen? Well, it happened because I was part of the script.
Right. Because I was here right now at this place.
Exactly. I'm here right now in this place, and if I want to know what my script is, it's that I'm here right now in this place, doing what I just did,
Yeah.
and now I'm caught up.
Yeah. And what you think about it, because we wanted to have all these experiences, but you can't have all the experiences at once. You
Exactly.
have to, you can't, you have to slow it down in slow motion and look at it. It's like a movie. If you put a movie on the reel to reel whatever, and it's
Yeah.
sped it up a million times, it might be done in 2 minutes, but you don't experience the movie at all because it's moved by so fast. But now we're just slowing it down so we can
Yeah.
watch it, and that's all we're
Hey,
doing.
you wonder if we're actually looking at, we're watching our life path before our eyes before we die. Our whole life is just watching our life. That's what we try to want to do. We want to observe our life pass before us. And that's what they're supposed to do. Before you die, that's supposed to be what you do. Your life path before your eyes. I mean, that's sort of what we want to get to, that stage where, because we know death is not a big deal. And it's less, it's the power over us to freak us out.
Right.
And so we can just observe, we just let life pass before our eyes. Start now.
Yeah, yeah.
You might as
Live,
well.
live this life that we're here for.
Yeah. Just
Experience the experience that we
I mean,
asked for.
let the script just whatever happens, let it just happen because that's your script.
Yeah,
You know, and you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
exactly.
Innocence is obvious. And then my daughter says, "How can I get in trouble with God for doing something when I can't do anything different?"
Right. I mean, if
Because he made me.
he
That's what she
punished
said.
you for doing what he made you to do,
Yeah, yeah.
that's ridiculous.
I can't do that. I have trouble in that area, so I should be.
Yeah,
So, I had enough. How can he make me upset with me? He made me. Well, yeah, that's true.
right. And he made me just this way. So,
Yeah, exactly.
why would he be mad about that?
Yeah, exactly. So then, it's like it's his problem.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm his problem. I'm not his slave.
Exactly.
That's the challenge.
Oh,
All
geez.
right. Okay. All right. So where are we?
Let's see. Did you read yet that desire you feel in?
No.
Okay.
Been forward.
Yeah.
No. Yet that desire you feel in you is from me because it's born of an idea, I think I did read this. I read the end.
Okay.
Which I implanted in your mind only that it might come forth into expression through you. Indeed, whatever your desire is, I'm knocking at the door of your mind, announcing my purpose of manifesting myself in you or through you in a particular form indicated by that desire. What is called desire in human personality is but the necessary action of my will pushing forth the expression of my idea into outer manifestation or being. Desire is just the idea of God pushing his idea out there. What to do if you would seem to be in me a desire for expression? What 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 to you what to you would seem to be a desire for expression is but the necessity of my idea of myself to be or express itself. Whoa. All right. However, as I have no desire, but I am all things, once this idea of expressing myself is this new condition was born, I had but to think that this is to concentrate or focus my attention upon my idea and will it come to forth to expression, or as it is told in my other revelation, to speak the creative word. At once did the cosmic forces of my being set in vibration by the concentration of my will, proceed to attract the necessary elements from the eternal storehouse of my mind. I like that. The eternal storehouse of my mind. And with my idea as a nucleus to combine, shape, form around it, these elements into what is called a thought form of a plant, fill it with my life substance, my consciousness, and down with the potentialities of my being. And he says how he created the whole world was the way through his thought forms, through his ideas, and through he created the planet Earth and all the different stars.
Yeah. So so all the things that um we are protesting against, really are they're all a part of God. All
Oh
these
yeah,
protests are uh the ego trying to be in charge
yeah,
and not to live this in this world that we've been given. Now, that doesn't mean because we were just reading this in the course a bit ago that that all the things that are happening in the world that we're interpreting as bad and disastrous are really not bad or disastrous at all. Why? Because nothing can go wrong. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. So you can't really hurt anything or anyone in this dream.
right,
So the idea of good, bad, right, wrong, all of that is just an opinion, a story about something that we don't really understand. It's like, the worm wakes up one morning and goes digging through the earth, and a robin comes up and, digs down and grabs the worm and eats it, and you're going, oh my God, you poor worm. And then, oh, well, look, the robin is taking the bits of the worm to feed its babies.
yeah,
And oh, those lucky babies, they get a meal. I mean, none of it was right or wrong,
yeah,
right? It was
yeah,
just
absolutely. Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just it's hard to say that. You be careful how you say that and who you say it to, obviously, because you don't be come across insensitive. It's just to say
right.
there's no right or wrong here. But the problem is that we had people have no idea what's right or wrong. That's the problem.
Exactly. Well, and that's what
It's
I'm
also
saying.
it's also complicated.
If nothing can be harmed, then where could something go wrong?
Exactly, exactly. And this way you can see what's. Now look, it doesn't mean like, for instance, if you're in a relationship with somebody, if you're in a relationship with some guy and you feel abused, you feel like it's toxic for whatever reasons, it doesn't mean he's a bad person or he's guilty of any kind of existential guilt or anything with God. It might mean it might be better off not being around him so much.
Yeah.
It's like if you're around a thief, hide your wallet.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he's a bad guy. Why give him temptation?
Right. Yeah, because it's not kind to him
Is
to
that
put
kind to
him in
him?
a
And
position where
stupid
he's, yeah, going to be tempted.
and stupid for you.
Yeah.
And you lose your money and you trip him up. So what's the point? And this way you're not judging him. You're taking actions to protect yourself, and which you don't really have to do either. But we're still not totally in a place where we have to protect ourselves still in this world, in this realm. I
Oh,
always
yeah.
it's the bus theory. Obviously, you have to get out of the way of the bus, and there's always these little metaphorical buses coming at us. You know,
Yeah. It's all a story of my thought about what my experience is.
right?
So, and I can have any thought I want about my experience.
Oh, sure, sure.
I mean, there are people who have, enjoy being in pain. There's people in this world that, would pay you to beat them up, even though that sounds ridiculous, but
Yeah.
to them, it doesn't make them unhappy.
And that's really wild. Well, look, 3 4 days a week I watch horror movies now with my kid.
Yeah, yeah,
Before my that happened before I never watched them since I was a kid. I would never watch them. There's no point in my opinion. Now I watch them 3 4 nights a week. We have to decide which one we want to watch because that's too dark. I don't want to watch that one. No, I don't want to watch the one where the father and the kid decide to kill the mom. I'm like, no, thank you. This is the type of thing I'm waiting through. But you have to say to yourself, wait, this is just a movie,
right.
and you practice. You probably practice. Well, if I can't see this, knowing it's fake, and I might watch the news where I'm not really too sure.
Right. And
You
well,
know what I'm saying?
it's all the news too. I mean,
Well, it's fully fake.
you
I,
have, people report the same story in different ways.
right,
So for some people, there, I mean, look right now, there's, at the colleges in America, there's a lot of, kids that are protesting and, want to, protect Palestinians and, get the war over in Gaza and all that business.
right,
And,
right,
they're going through all kinds of stuff there, and, there's hundreds, maybe even thousands of them that are, out there protesting and, causing all kinds of, really getting themselves in a lot of trouble for no real good reason because they're not going to be affecting American foreign policy. But
right,
the idea that they're out there, I mean, really, let's stop this genocide of Palestinians. But think about it. The United States, and I'm not going to wanting to get politics, but the United States went to Iraq and completely devastated that country and killed
well, yeah, I know.
thousands, hundreds of thousands of
Yeah.
people. And you didn't see protests on the college campuses where they were building up tents and saying, quit bombing Iraqis or quit hurting Iraqis. Or, I mean, there's
Yeah,
there
also right now, there's other things going on the planet that are pretty bad also.
right,
The
but you
Middle
didn't have
East,
that kind.
there's a lot of opinions on the Middle East for some reason. Everyone has has a
Yeah.
right to it's Jews, Judaism, the Bible, the whole thing. Kind of everyone it's similar to like religion. People have the right to their own opinion, even if they don't
Yes.
open up a book about it, but they have thousands of opinions.
Yep.
It's similar to that, I think. Israel is very much a triggering subject for just
Yes.
about everybody. And so they have opinions, and that's it. You shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, you know, blah, 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 blah. Palestinians are living in the land also, and, and then it goes back and forth, back and forth. And this is it. And a lot of people want to march for something, and so this is a perfect cause for them.
Right. So here's my cause, and I'm going to
Yeah,
get myself thrown out of school or
yeah,
not going to be able to graduate because of it. And,
right.
I mean, there's a lot of repercussions that I think are going to happen to a lot of these young people because they're getting a lot of trouble. It's even worse than when I was a kid and the Vietnam War was on, and
Right.
we're fighting and marching in the streets about the Vietnam War. But that was really, that was my classmates were being
Oh
uh
yeah, that was
having
us.
to go to
Yeah, that was us. We were directly. That was our war we were fighting.
right, right. It,
That
it
was
was,
directly involved with us. And we were sent, we were drafted. We were drafted left and right.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, this is now, it wasn't us sending money to another country to help them, you know, as we've been doing for a long time. And it wasn't other countries fighting another country. I mean, you have Russians fighting Ukraine also. There's no outcry. There was an outcry. There was an outcry for a while. That's going to die. That's died down also. This won't die down until there's a solution.
right. And so, that's the thing though. What I'm saying is that, people have a choice and they decide this is what I'm going to be upset about now.
I
And a big part of it, I have to admit, is the press, what we're being shown, because the reason that Vietnam, besides the fact that American guys were going out and getting their asses shot off,
I know, exactly.
but the thing about Vietnam, we were seeing it on TV, and we were hearing about, massacres and things, and, it was something that was shown and that people knew about. Whereas like World War II or Korea, we knew our boys were over there fighting for a good reason, but we
Right,
didn't
right.
see, the devastation that was being done. We didn't know any of that stuff. Even still now, we see all those old war movies and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe that, this happened or these people went through this or whatever. But, you know, that's that.
They really watched the World War One and Two. They nationalized the entire Hollywood industry. They made sure the movies weren't negative. It was, a whole push
Yeah,
to make sure that this country was behind the war because they felt it was really just and they wanted to make sure that it didn't turn into
exactly.
a disaster.
Exactly. we were told to believe this certain story, and we believed the story, and we made up our mind about everything that went on about that because of the story that we believed.
Yeah.
And that's really all he's talking about here, is that, whatever is happening because, I want to see what it is. And God being, the I speaking here, wants to see what's going on with that. What's
Mhm.
going on with war? What's going on with, you know, when people suffer, whatever. How is that being experienced? Not because it's a bad thing that needs to be prevented, but because it's an experience that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah,
And
so
so,
yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say it reminds me of the show The Chosen I've been watching. And James, one of the apostles, comes up to him. He can't. He's limping. He has a bad leg or something, or bad something. And he has a little staff that he has to carry around with him. And he comes up to Jesus and just, he's basically kind of bummed out because Jesus is healing all these people, but he never heals James. He won't go to James and heal him. So he goes up to him and he says, so ask him, what's the very, very shy, like he puts his head down. He says, what's the deal? Why won't you heal me? And he goes, do you want to be healed? He says, well, yeah. He goes, you sure? He goes, yeah. And he goes, well, let me tell you something. And he tells him, well, it's your job to not be healed. It's your job to actually overcome, like a lot of people are going to have to do in the future. And you're going to be the example for those people. And he walked away.
Ah,
I mean, he did it much nicer than I just said. He made it sound much more like a thing to do. But it's one of those things where it's like, it's like, I don't remember why the hell I brought that up. It was something you had just said, but it was just funny. It was why did I bring that up?
I don't know. I mean, you were talking about, we were talking about choice about how to see things, and how to, that it's God's. Uh, this is God's experience that we're
Yeah, but
experiencing
yeah,
here.
I don't know. I thought that was
Anyway,
a connection somehow to him. Yeah, getting exactly what you want. Getting something else. Both those
yeah,
things wrong.
I haven't
No.
watched any of that stuff, but what I have been watching, which is really a cute show that you maybe your daughter might enjoy too. Maybe you've seen this, the Dead Boys Detectives,
Oh, sounds
Dead
wild.
Boy Detectives.
I don't know. I
It's
haven't heard of
about
it.
these two um, teenage boy ghosts, and they're trying to solve mysteries of
Oh, really? Yeah.
people who die so that they can go on to the next world.
Oh,
So
I see it.
they're detectives, and
Huh.
they're hooked up with this girl who's a medium, psychic medium, so she can see him and talk to him. And they're just having all these crazy adventures, going to where, all these different things. It's very cute, and it's funny, and there's it's good mystery, and of course there's lots of supernatural stuff going on. So there's
Is
all
it a comedy?
yeah, it's a kind of
Uh,
a,
Dramedy?
a dramedy. Yeah.
I see. I see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really very, very cute. We
Sounds
started
fun.
watching it yesterday, and
It was Dead Boy Detective.
yeah, I think that's what it's called, Dead Boys Detective, or Dead. Yeah. You can look, it's on Netflix.
Netflix. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So,
That's
but
good to me. That's great.
but yeah.
We're always looking for things. We watch. We would binge on things. We just finished watching for the second time we watched it because my daughter hadn't watched it at all. The Kaminsky Method.
Oh, uh-huh.
I don't know if you've watched that, but it's very funny with Alan Arkin and Michael Douglas.
No, I haven't seen it.
Kaminsky Method is about these two old dudes that just fuck around and he's an acting teacher and the other guy's just I think he's an
I heard
accountant.
about him as an acting teacher, so yeah.
Yeah, it's very funny.
So
It's very funny. Very funny. Extremely funny.
yeah, I like stuff like that too. And I mean, that's all part of the dream too. That's all part of, the experience that we're having as well. And, that we can join together and talk about the experience, and see our different perspectives on the different things that happen. It's a
Yeah.
way for us to join together with other people that we love. Like, if you and your daughter are watching these things, your wife, whenever. is all for the same purpose. So,
Yeah.
so that's what we're reading about. And I'm going to keep reading unless you want to
No,
continue.
no, you read, you read.
Okay. All right. So, he says, okay, however, as I have no desire because I am all things. So I think he's going to point out to us why it is that we have to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he can do it because he already is everything and has everything. So I am all things. Once this idea of expressing myself in this new condition was born, I had but to think, that is, to concentrate or focus my attention upon my idea and will it to come forth into expression. Or, as is told in my other revelation, to speak the creative word, and at once did the cosmic forces of my being, set in vibration by the concentrating of my will, proceed to attract the necessary elements from the eternal storehouse of my mind, and with my mind as a nucleus, to combine form and shape around it, these elements into what is called a thought form of a planet, filling it with my life, substance, my consciousness, and endowing it with all the potentialities of my being. So that's it. He thought, I want to see what it's like, and boom, here came, let's throw let's put on a show in the barn,
Yep,
and
yep. And every thought, every visual thing, every nook and cranny of this world are God's thoughts, basically.
yeah, it all came out of the universal warehouse of all things,
And yeah,
and
exactly, exactly. And then again, I wonder how I guess it didn't come out immediately either. He had to, he pointed out, for us, it's a process.
yes,
So it started out, for instance, like the cell that became slowly but surely evolved into a human.
yeah,
For us,
exactly.
that takes a long time.
Yeah, yeah,
But
a
for
long
him,
time.
yeah,
Well, because but the reason it takes a long time is because we're watching it in slow motion, so we can
exactly.
get all the details.
Yeah,
And that's why
exactly.
we're experiencing all the different life forms, lifetimes, in all these different, being a victim, being a uh, whatever villain. All these we're experiencing all these lifetimes, so we can see all the every part of the script
Yep.
from all different directions and
It's
experience it.
yeah, and people, the script is not against us. People, the script is something that we could do. It's like I'm an actor, so I should act out the script and be happy to act it out and take a look at it and be part of it, as opposed to trying to. Because if I try to block the script or ignore the script or deny the script, that's part of my script suddenly.
Yeah, your
I
your
can't.
script is to ignore the script.
You can't ignore the script because my script suddenly becomes me ignoring the script.
Yeah, that's it. And
So,
and and, and the experience comes of what happens when I ignore the script, what happens, how I experience.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So yeah, as I say, you're never off the path, which is very comforting, but perhaps you feel trapped. I don't know. Some people might feel trapped, but to me, it's very comforting to know that I can never, ever, 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 ever get lost at sea.
isn't that just awesome?
Yeah.
I love that. That makes me
Yeah.
so happy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Makes me
yeah.
happy too. Cool.
So let's see. I'll continue reading. This
Okay.
act of thinking produced only a visualized thought form of a planet, and its manifestation was still in a nebulous state in the thought realm. From a thought form, however, the quickening power of the idea within, with my will focused upon it, proceeded to mold, fashion, and gradually to solidify into material form the various elements of life substance, until my idea finally shone forth in substantial manifestation in the world of visible forms as the planet Earth, a medium ready for the living expression, and now capable of both containing and expressing me. So that's how he built it all up so that, God could be in all of it.
Yeah.
And not just this planet, but everything. But he's not going to get into that, I'm sure.
Well,
Uh
he kind of did. Oh, he said it earlier.
yeah,
Seems as if he hinted at it.
he did hint at it. Is absolutely You're absolutely right.
I
So
forget what he
uh
said, but I never
yeah,
seen this myself. Ooh, that's everyone. That's everyone.
there's yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
Go
see.
on, go on.
Let's see. This was the material
Yeah.
body. This was the material body prepared by my thinking, in which already dwell all the potential nature, all the potential nature of my being by reason of the informing power of my idea within.
And those the seed contains everything that the tree will be.
Yes, yeah,
And it's the
yeah,
same thing.
exactly, exactly. Oh, I love that. That's a really, yeah, I like the way that the thought of that. Um, so yeah, so that's what he was doing here. Okay, so
The
all
next
right.
stage, I think.
The next stage was the developing and preparing of avenues or mediums through which I could express the manifold phases, possibilities, and powers of my idea. The outward evidence of this was what is known as the mineral, vegetable, and animal kingdoms, which each in turn, as it came into manifestation, gradually unfolded higher and more complex states of consciousness that enabled me more and more clearly to express the infinite phases and variety of my nature. It was at this stage that I looked upon my creation, as stated in my other revelation, and
Hmm.
saw that it was good. I'm guessing he's talking about the Bible.
Yes.
Looked at
Yeah,
it.
that's what he said that before. He mentioned that before too, his other Revelation.
Yeah,
He's the creative word, I think he said.
yeah, that's yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, very. So yeah,
And which is also pretty cool because remember, he said at the very beginning, he said, imagine that this is part of yourself that's speaking to you.
yes,
So this is my other revelation, the
that's
Bible,
right.
and this is yours.
Absolutely,
This is the
absolutely.
universal eyes.
Yep. So okay.
The outward. The,
The outward evidence of this was what is known as the mineral, vegetable, and animal kingdoms, which in turn came into manifestation, gradually unfolded higher and more complex states of consciousness that enabled me more and more clearly to express the infinite phases and variety of my nature. It was at this stage that I looked upon my creation as stated in other revelation and saw that it was good. But yet there yet remained the final and culminating medium of expression. Up to this point, while each perfectly expressed some phase of my nature, yet all existing mediums and avenues were unconscious of me. Oh, okay, here we
yeah,
go.
yeah. Here we come. Here we come.
Yeah, here we come. This is why. All right. And were mediums of expression only as a wire is a medium for conducting heat, light, and power. The conditions were ripe, however, for the creation of mediums through which my divine attributes could find conscious expression, conscious not only of their relationship to me, but of their ability and power to express my idea. So, geez, here we go. We're looking at then the whole situation being, you know, I built the car and now it's time to drive the car
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
and see what the car can do,
Right.
see where the
Yep.
car can go. Yeah.
He built the car. God built this car. And now he's ready to rock and roll. Ready to drive it.
Yep.
And that's we have this nice car now, and that's like that's the body, I guess, right? That's the car, I guess, and so
Hmm.
now
Yeah.
when and that's the idea that's being expressed or manifested
Right.
is this thought composite called the body. But that key the body, you say the word body, you think flesh. So that's we don't really have another word for it, but it's the point of it's not flesh. It's a thought composite. It's mental.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. So
Cool.
we
So
are all here to manifest some phase of God.
it makes total sense too that it's because he wants us. He wants to have a relationship with us.
Yes. Isn't that really the whole point of this?
Yeah, he wants us to respond willingly, almost to choose him.
Right. Because
Uh,
otherwise we would be
no,
slaves.
yeah, exactly. We'd be no different than the minerals that
Right.
they really we'll be expressing him, but so what? It's like
Right.
a little kid who's living in the present moment, but so what? He can't help it. The little 2-year-old can't help it.
Right.
And, but if you can get back to that when you're an adult, then you feel good.
yes.
If you get back to that little 2-year-old energy, the 4-year-old energy of living in the present moment when you're 40.
Exactly. exactly.
Then you've accomplished something. But if you're 4 years old and you go, I live in the present moment, big deal. You don't really have many memories anyhow.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's where you're at.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you,
Exactly.
when you move out of the present moment, what was it what was it? I'll think of it as we go along because it was something that was the difference. I was just listening, the difference between how a 3-year-old sees things and how a 4-year-old sees things.
Oh,
So,
really?
it was a story. Okay. The story was uh, the scientists were doing an experiment with little children, and so they take this little boy in the room and they give him a box and they tell him this is a box of candy. He was a little 3-year-old boy,
Right.
and so they show it to him, and then he opens it up and it's full of rocks.
Oh, that's evil.
And so he's like, oh, there's no candy in here, it's rocks.
Okay.
So the little 3-year-old sees that. Okay. So then and they did with this with kids of all 3, 4, 5 years old. Okay. So
Okay.
then they take the little boy into another room where he can see through a window into the same room where he just was. And they bring another a little girl and they give her the box and they say to the little boy, what does she think? wh- Okay, they say to the little boy, what is she going to find in that box? And the little boy says candy because they told him it was a box of candy. So he says candy because he doesn't know the difference between what happened to him and what's happening to her. He sees it as
Oh,
a different situation. Now, when they were like
okay.
4 years old, when they said, "What do you think is going to be in that box?" and he said, "Rocks."
I see. I see. So
Right?
he's a little bit more adult, more mature.
More cognizant of
Mm.
the
Mm.
reality of the situation and not as caught up in the story of, what, they told them it was candy. They told the
Yeah.
little girl it's
Mm.
candy. It's a box that looks like candy, you know. So uh the 3-year-old couldn't tell the difference between what his experience was where he found rocks and her experience that he thinks she's going to find candy
Right.
because the box says candy and they said it was candy. And the 4-year-old knows better because, you fooled me
Yeah.
with that.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, it's funny. That's very funny. Yeah, but I happened to be some similar, not similar, but the essence of it. I was in a, vaguely remember this. I was so young, but I was in some store thing, and they had some sort of plaything in the back. You climbed up this little ladder, and you slid down a pole to the main floor, to like the floor. You went up a little ladder, and you came down the pole. For some reason, I didn't understand the concept of climbing up and down. My father was sitting on a chair, very calmly, with his legs crossed, just looking out and just reading a paper. I don't know what he's doing, but and I got to climb up and then I go down. I had this idea that I was going down below the ground, like down. I didn't realize I was going up and down to the same spot. I had that, as I went down the pole each time. I was going to another level. Like there's different, and but probably my father was still there though. So
oh
I
my
had, so
gosh.
is that my dad or is it a different dad?
Oh,
And it went on for a while until the next I just walked away, and my father and I walked away. I never really said nothing until like years later when I realized, oh, I'm an idiot.
no, 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 you're not an idiot. I'll
Yeah.
tell you, I'll tell you something. Here's an interesting story of again little kids. Um, uh, when I worked in Ohio, had to go to the hospital to get some tests, and the a guy that I worked with, his wife was pregnant, and they had a little boy who was probably around 3, and so they she had to go to get some tests at the same time. So I went in and got, changed out in whatever robe. No, she went out and got changed out in whatever robe. He didn't see me at first. He just, he saw his mom went in this room. And I came out of the room and I'm wearing the same robe. And he looked
Okay.
at me and he said, "Are you my mommy magically changed to a different person now?"
Yeah. That's funny. You should have said, yes, I am. What a mess was been That's funny.
Oh, that guy was so embarrassed. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm beside him." I'm like, "That is the cutest thing I ever
It's so
saw."
funny.
Are you my mommy? Because I was wearing the same outfit his mommy was wearing when she went in the room. I came out of the room, and I just that was just. But that's how little kids are.
Yeah, exactly. It's concepts. You learn concepts as you get older. The concepts of up and down. You and the concept of the same robe for the 3-year-old. No,
Yeah.
no understanding.
Yeah, I had that once when I was at the gas station in the winter time. I was wearing I have a red coat and I had like a little red beanie and my little red gloves and I was waiting in line to pay at the gas station and a little boy came in with his dad to pay and the little boy looked up at me and he said, "Are you that elf that was in the movie?"
Really? That's funny.
He
You
thought
said,
I was
yes, I am.
I thought I was the movie elf, but that's how it is. The little when you don't know this, I guess what we were talking about. When you don't know,
Yeah,
and you're just so
you feel it.
innocent,
You
it's
feel
all
it.
seems the same to you.
Yeah, and you end up filling in the blanks for yourself.
Yes,
And
exactly.
your brain fills in the blanks, and this, and if nobody tells you any different, that's how you remember it.
Right,
And you, and
right,
you, and you build on, very often you're building on premises that are kind of not necessarily wrong or bad, but they're confusing.
exactly.
For all I know, I was walking out, they were thinking I was with a different dad.
Yeah,
Well, how long I thought my dad was different.
that's
I mean,
hilarious.
I have no idea, but who knows? I think I have a feeling knowing me. I probably just said, "Oh well, I have a different dad. He looks the same, acts the same." But I just
Yeah,
remember it was
because your idea of reality, you have not got a set set idea of what things are, and so you're capable of learning and seeing things in a very innocent way. It was very cute though.
I just
So,
remember it was so weird. Every time I looked over, he was sitting there so calm. I said, how is he still there? I don't get it. And we're going down and down and down and down and down every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, and he's still sitting there.
and he's still there.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
All right. Okay. So
Okay, let's
we have
see.
some time, right? We have some time.
Yeah, so you want to read it was at this moment in time.
Okay.
Okay.
But it was at this moment in time that you and your brothers and sisters were born into existence as human expressions. Yay! Coming into manifestation as you did, similarly with all other mediums, in response to my concentrated thought, which I saw all the infinite variety of my attributes in actual expression in in was that word?
Let's see.
And emphasized
Entitized,
emphasized forms. All
like
right.
made into an entity.
Entity, they've had, yeah, okay. Express an entitized form, each manifesting in predominance some particular phase of my being, and each conscious of me, its creator and expressor. I saw you in perfect expression, even as I see you now, the real you, the attribute of myself, perfect. So he says it's perfect. He knows the end, and so therefore he knows everything.
Yeah, exactly. Which reminds me that I might play that Pink song "Perfect"
Oh yeah, I should. Yeah, I should play that.
because I mean that's it's I listened to it and well you've probably heard it before and if you haven't then you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
Uh,
Now that maybe I've heard sounds familiar, I think.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I may have remember heard it here before for I know.
so yeah. Do you want me? It's we
Yeah,
got
yeah, with nine
yeah,
minutes, I think, right?
yeah.
Yes,
Well,
we have 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Why don't you play this one now? Do it.
yeah. I'll go ahead and play that song now.
Yeah,
And
yes. And one other thing quickly I wanted to say, she left around. I was tell oh, Karen, it's great to see. I haven't seen you here since the operation, since you had your operation. So it's great to see you in here. I don't know how many times you've been in the room since then, but it's great to see you. So that's all I wanted to say. And also good to see you, Regis. Thanks very much. And I'll be here to I'll be here tomorrow at with Ozzy will be back tomorrow also, and we'll be back
okay,
here. Yeah, and for Anxiety to Love. Anxiety to Love. And we're reading that starting. We're like a third of the way through. Like this, we go very slowly and talk a lot, which is
I've
fun.
been enjoying it though.
Yeah, well, he says at the very beginning of the book, he said we should read a line and stop and talk about it.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
says in the intro or the forward, it says take your time, read a line, and think about it. So I think we're doing exactly what we're supposed to do.
Exactly. We are. We're doing exactly.
Yes, so we're good. Yeah.
All right. So we're
All
going to
right.
listen to a song
Yeah.
called
Yes.
Effing Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great song.
All
And then
right.
the name of the band is Pink.
Yeah. Yeah. Pink.